Asia is the world's largest continent by land area and population, home to 4.4 billion people, more than half the world's population. The continent is massive and diverse. From desert ruins, ancient monuments, and giant mountains, the beaches and jungle treks to the mega cities and technology capitals, the list goes on. And yet, above all, there's more. Just when you think this fascinating place couldn't get any more interesting, this happens. 15 shocking things recently discovered in Asia. Molten fireworks. For the past 30 years, Wang Di has been practicing the ancient art of Dan Shua, a 500-year-old tradition that first began with blacksmiths in the Nanquan village of China, wanting a way to celebrate Chinese New Year, but without being able to afford traditional fireworks. These blacksmiths came up with a new form of entertainment. By tossing molten iron against the walls, they created beautiful showers of sparks, beginning a practice that would soon become a part of their culture. There's no place else on earth to witness the fiery view. Right after the spectacle is over, members of the audience rush to acquire a unique souvenir from the unforgettable event. The marks from the molten iron on the wood make for a great reminder of this once-in-a-lifetime experience. Despite its great popularity, it might not be around much longer. Unfortunately, only 4 courageous performers remain in the entire region since it's a bit dangerous to do so. Making it even worse, there are young people in the art of iron throwing. All of the active men are over the age of 40. Probably younger generations look for different careers in the big cities or don't want to get hurt doing something this risky. Sadly, this means that the valuable Chinese tradition is on the edge of extinction. What they discovered in Asia terrifies the whole world. Could it be proof that angels actually exist? Check this out. Angel Down. A group of curious onlookers have gathered to inspect what appears to be some sort of fallen winged creature in white. Angels wear white, don't they? Asian mythology does speak of a flying spirit similar to an angel known as a Tenyo. Many legends about these winged creatures spread throughout much of Asia over time and were incorporated into some religions as celestial inhabitants and enlightened beings. However, some legends portray the Tenyo as solitary creatures living alone on mountain peaks. In fact, many pilgrims have already climbed high mountains in an attempt to find these sacred beings. And although these alleged angels are able to fly, many legends say that this ability is due to their clothing. They cannot fly without their kimonos called hagoromo, a suit made of sacred feathers. But where are the feathers? Judging by the look of this creature's fleshy wings, the feathers had been straight up plucked out. Could jumbo Tenyo wings be on the menu for these curious onlookers? Comment below with your thoughts and make sure to hashtag Sweet Topic. Owakudani black eggs. The Owakudani area will surely take your breath away. Not just for the magnificent view of nearby Mount Fuji on a clear day, but also from the rising volcanic gases that come from underneath the valley itself. When you look around, there's an infinite amount of steam pouring up through vents around the mountain, and a very special odor that will remind you that you are indeed traversing an active volcanic valley. One trail that you shouldn't miss is the upward trek to the egg boiling site. One can take a tram up to the hot springs or walk up the 1-kilometer path. On clear days, either route delivers amazing views of the mountain. Once the springs are reached, the black eggs can be purchased 5 at a time. The eggs are ordinary chicken eggs, but the shell turns black due to being boiling in the hot sulfur spring. Local tradition holds that for each black egg eaten, 7 years is added to your life. However, some say that eating more than 2 is not a good idea. These eggs are cooked in natural spring water for an hour at 80 degrees Celsius. They're then steamed for 15 minutes in steel baskets. The water they're boiled in contains sulfur and iron, which give the shells their special color. The eggs are perfectly safe, although they may smell like sulfur. Is sulfur the new salt? No way sulfur is better than salt, right? Toilet restaurant. No one would actually eat out of a toilet, right? But did you know dirty dishcloths have more bacteria than a toilet seat? Anyways, Tokyo for too long has held the monopoly on odd Asian restaurants, so Taipei's modern toilet restaurant is here to stand out. It's a mixture of a restaurant, cafe, and desert-themed toilet space. The seats are real toilets. You drink Coke out of tiny urinals. The tables have toilet bowls with poo in them, fake of course. Even the couches are giant toilets. It's pretty out there, but it's fun to try new things. Modern toilet restaurant in Taiwan was inspired by the Japanese manga series Dr. Slump. Some of the menu items have names like poop meatballs, urine mango juice, and swirly poop ice cream. It's one of a chain restaurants that has grown across Taiwan from a small ice cream shop to a full restaurant selling toilet-themed food with a side of small laughs. You can get your chicken in a toilet-shaped bowl because why not? And don't worry, the little poo ice cream comes as standard with all meals. What would you try on the menu? Shiba Inu sweet potatoes. In Hokkaido, you can get hot roasted sweet potatoes to warm your stomach. But there's an interesting fact about the place that dog lovers will absolutely love. Ken used to run this humble sweet potato stand with amazing professionalism and glee. Ken Kun eagerly waits to assist hungry customers. Despite the popularity of cute things in Japan, this is the only well-known food stand to be managed entirely by a dog. Pretty impressive. The fact that a Shiba Inu is the face of the store isn't the only unique thing here. His lack of language ability, number skills, and hands changes some of the expectations of how a food stand is operated. The dog uses the honor system. For example, he can't tell when someone doesn't pay, and his owner isn't there for every part of the shift. Because of that, it's up to the customer to be honest when they pay up. This might not work so well in America. However, he does like to stand close to the sweet potato box and money stand when customers approach them. It might make it a bit more difficult for someone to feel okay taking a potato from a cute dog. The roasted sweet potatoes in Japan are among the best winter street food. You'll see these stalls pop up all over the place, much like we have roast chestnuts in Europe or the US. The sweet potato is an extremely popular food in general and can be found served in a variety of ways. There are sweet potato chips, sweet potato pastries, sweet potato cakes, sweet potato candies, sweet potato bread, and sweet potato Kit Kats. You could even try the sweet potato ice cream. Potatoes are versatile. Bicycle roller coaster. Located in Washuzan Highland Amusement Park in Okayama City in Japan, the Sky Cycle is a pedal-operated roller coaster that requires riders to pedal all the way around rather than just sit back. Can't have fun without hard work, right? Well, sometimes. The roller coaster is built over hilly terrain and consists of a pair of elevated rails. While there are no loops and spectacular drops, riding the Sky Cycle will still make you feel something. The rails are located 4 stories above the ground. The carts are open and there are no guardrails either. Aside from a seatbelt, there's little to ensure that riders do not fall off their seat to the ground below. The attraction overlooks the islands that sit on the Sado Inland Sea and provides breathtaking 360-degree views of sites like the city of Okayama and the Great Sado Bridge. If you're afraid of heights, this would be a bad idea. Maybe go with someone who's very strong and can bike for 2 people. Dragon Bridge. A dragon bridge sounds like something from a fairy tale and would be very dangerous, but this bridge is a sight you would want to see. To celebrate the 38th anniversary of the end of the Vietnam War, authorities in the port city of Da Nang have opened the world's largest dragon bridge. Featuring more than 2,500 energy-efficient Philips LED lights, the dragon releases bursts of fire from its mouth and can spit water during the country's major festivals or at weekends. Dragon Bridge is the longest bridge in Vietnam that no first-time visitor should miss. Work began on the bridge in 2009 and cost a reported $85 million. Connecting to the city's international airport and beaches, the structure is the shape of the dragon in the Lý dynasty, a creature that's part of Vietnam folklore. The 166-meter-long steel arch is the longest such structure in Vietnam, with the dragon's body measuring a total of 568 meters and more than 2,000 tons in weight, measuring at 666 meters in length. While it's a magnificent sight at any time of day, Dragon Bridge is particularly cool and packed with sightseers in the evening, as it's illuminated on weekends and on annual festivals. And the fire and water that spouts out the dragon's head does it twice a week, so you don't have to worry about missing this amazing view. 2D Cafe. Green Cafe in Seoul, South Korea is a coffee shop unlike any other. Upon entering the shop, people find themselves transported into a world inspired by the hit Korean animated web series W. Inside the narrow cafe, walls, counters, furniture, and even forks and knives are crafted to look like drawings come to life. Dark outlines on every object and matte white surfaces create an effect that resembles a room from a cartoonist's notebook. Not coincidentally, the show follows the story of a man caught between 2 worlds, ours and an alternate cartoon reality. It gives the impression that the space is made only of so much paper and ink. From the moment you cross the cafe's doorstep, you're greeted by comic strips plastered all over the interior, from walls and floors to the furniture and dishes, so you can't help but feel as if you found a secret entrance to the unreal comic universe. And it all makes sense if you get the reference. If you can't make it to South Korea, you can still feed your wonder by checking out their Instagram. Even online, it looks amazing. Imagine being there in person. Japan's Robot Show. Robot Restaurant is a neon-filled night of dancing, crazy costumes, and robot battles. If this sounds like your kind of dreamland, there's no question that you need to check this out. The Robot Restaurant is one of Tokyo's most popular tourist attractions, a show that combines a whole lot of neon lights and really loud music with many other insane things. It's like a glitter factory exploded, and the explosion was so loud that it caused a unicorn to puke rainbows all over the place. The rainbow vomit struck the lights, turning the various colored lights up to 11 where it got struck. The music is some loud J-pop electro that flies around the room. The performers come out dressed as dragons and ninja warriors and futuristic neon assassins and give all the tourists faces who were perhaps expecting something different than what they got. The big question is, should you pay money to see this? If the thought of seeing cool lights and robots everywhere, then for sure. Potential visitors should also take note that the show includes many bright, flashing lights as well as some loud and unexpected noises, so this is not for everyone. It does make us wonder when robots will be rainbow colored. That would make life more fun. World's longest water slide. The joy of a water slide usually ends in less than 25 seconds at a regular water park. However, Escape, an outdoor theme park in Penang, Malaysia, has decided to solve this issue. The 1,111-meter-long water slide at Escape Theme Park is recognized by Guinness World Records as the world's longest tube water slide. It's a pleasant journey through the nature of Penang Island and takes around 4.5 minutes to reach the end. The slide offers a 4-minute ride that meanders its way down a 70-meter slope. Passing through jungle scenery, huffing and puffing won't be part of the experience either. Visitors access the slide by a cable car lift. The design ensured no trees were cut down in the creation of the water slide. Throughout the design and installation process, they had to make many changes due to the crazy terrain and to meet safety compliances in a process that took around 8 months. Are you the type of person who would rather go on a super fast short slide or a longer fun one like this? Water puppets. Every year during the rice harvest, farmers in Vietnam's Red River Delta region would gather for folk singing and dancing at village festivals. About 1,000 years ago, water puppets were added to the list of performances at these festivals. The first shows were hosted in the rice fields, which could be filled with water to create a watery stage. As you watch the puppets float across the water, in sync and sometimes even passing objects between one another, it's impossible to imagine how the talented artists work from behind the pagoda screen, their hands beneath the dark, mudded waters. Over the past 1,000 years, the traditional art of water puppetry has evolved. Nowadays, the shows are always accompanied by an orchestra, weaving beautiful music from the likes of bamboo flutes, horns, drums, wooden bells, and string guitars. It's even typical for the musicians to break off and shout words of warning to the puppets if danger lurks ahead. Catch the odd and beautiful show at the Thang Long Water Puppet Theater. It opened in 1969. Though shows are available in smaller venues and some are still going strong in rural villages, you can even have the ticket delivered right to your hotel, so you can walk into the venue just before the performance. So there's no reason to miss it if you ever visit Hanoi. Taiwan Rainbow Village. Rainbow Village was created single-handedly by one elderly war veteran. His name is Huang Young-fu, but everyone calls him Rainbow Grandpa. A little over 10 years ago, a then 86-year-old Huang Young-fu faced a big problem. The Taiwanese government was threatening to knock down his village as he was the last remaining resident in attempts to build a modern apartment. He was offered money to pack up his home and move, but couldn't bear the thought of leaving the only home he'd ever known. That's when he started painting. First, he painted a small bird on his bungalow. It continued with cats, birds, and people that began coming across the vacant building in the village. Then in 2010, a local university student came upon the village and after hearing his story, vowed to help. He got a few photos of the village and began a fundraising campaign to save it from being destroyed. The news quickly went viral and Rainbow Grandpa came to be. Capturing the heart of the nation, the colorful village became a huge draw for tourists and it continues to bring over 1 million visitors every year. Best of all, he gets to keep his home. Rainbow City is easy enough to get to by taxi, renting a scooter, or taking public transportation. Practically unknown until the last decade or so, even by those living in Taiwan, the village is quickly becoming one of the most popular things to do in the area. When living in a rainbow town for most of your life, would normal buildings all seem sad? Let us know what you think in the comments. Airport slide. Not a lot of people can say that airports are fun, but at Changi Airport in Singapore, that's not the case. Often called one of the best airports in the world, this interesting, beautiful, and actually fun airport has one thing that many do not, which is a slide that gets you to your gate in the best way possible, of course. Yeah, you heard that right. Slides in an airport? Seems like a strange idea, but kind of fun. It's essentially a very nice shopping mall, amusement park, and resort all wrapped up into one. And if you're flying in or out, you're in luck. At the bottom of the slide sits a red chandelier, built in 2018, which is basically a small playground with climbing nets and poles. With that much fun, you wouldn't mind if your flight was delayed. While the slide in Terminal 4 is free for anyone to use, the larger slide does have a requirement of spending around $11 in any restaurant or shop in the airport, an easy thing to do if you've forgotten to pack anything for your trip. All other airports should replace all escalators with slides, and you'll have far happier people. Of course, not everyone should be forced to use the slide. There are also escalators or stairs you could take instead. The only issue with this idea is that so many germs will be flying around, so maybe it's not the best thing to do. Ring of Fire. Ring of Fire is famous because of Johnny Cash, but this Ring of Fire has been around much longer. Indonesia has more than 17,000 volcanic islands. With that many, there must be some pretty crazy volcanoes. The Ring of Fire is a massive horseshoe-shaped ring encircling the Pacific Basin made up of a string of volcanoes and seismic activity. About 90% of all earthquakes occur along the Ring of Fire, which has 75% of all the active volcanoes on Earth. A string of 452 volcanoes stretches from the southern tip of South America up the coast of the Americas, across the Bering Strait, down through Japan, and into New Zealand. In total, the ring forms a 25,000-mile arc, so not a short distance by any means. The ring is the result of tectonic plates, which are huge slabs of the Earth's crust that fit together like a puzzle to make up the Earth's surface. Sometimes these plates collide, move apart, or slide against each other, which result in an earthquake. So in this area would be the best place to experience an earthquake, but they're not something you would want to look for, unless you want to study them, of course. Cruise ship hotel. At first glance, it looks like a massive ship has run aground on rocks. Thankfully, the ship's setting is on purpose, as someone decided to take the full cruise experience and drop anchor on dry land for the first hotel of its kind. Always wanted to go on a cruise but get seasick? The Sun Cruise Hotel is the best option for you. Located in South Korea, you can find this unbelievable hotel sitting on a cliff overlooking the Eastern Sea. Tourists are welcome to walk around the hotel to take pictures and videos for a small fee of $5. If you want to spend the night, you'll have to put up a bit more, which is about $95 a night depending on the season. The boat is 165 meters long, 45 meters high, and weighs a whopping 30,000 tons. Building this would not be an easy task. Your room is a marine-themed hotel-style room and features a luxurious bed and entertainment area. There's a lot of choices for things to do, as there's a lounge, nightclub, karaoke bar, seawater pool, and 2 restaurants. A boat that never sails ends up being a good thing for this. Kaku Pagodas. A pagoda is an Asian tiered tower with multiple eaves common to Nepal, China, Japan, Korea, Vietnam, and other parts of Asia. Most pagodas were built to have a religious function, most often Buddhist. Most of them were constructed in the 17th and 18th centuries, and many of them have been restored after suffering earthquake damage. Kiku Pagoda is an impressive complex of 2,400 ancient stupas. Each stupa has to be decorated with figures of angels, musicians, dancers, floral motifs, and designs. From the main stupa, visitors can walk through the small channels within rows of smaller stupas, each beautiful in its unique ways. While the renovation is still going on, plenty of the stupas suffer from varying degrees of weathering and damage from the odd earthquake that affects many temple complexes within the country. They're also quite the perfect backdrop for taking photos. So if you love history and are in search of a special, lesser-known place to visit in Myanmar, this is the place for you to go. We've just scratched the surface of all the possible discoveries to find in Asia.